So whatever you're going to do, make sure that you do it for yourself. You don't do it for him. You don't do it for her. You don't do it for them. You don't do it for the people. You do it for yourself. Some people say, well, all he does is go down to Atlantic City. That is my getaway for all this meaningless toil that I'm doing on this planet. I'm getting old, I'm getting gray, and I'm getting tired. My family is always in need. Things always need to be done. Things break, you have to fix them. There's car notes. Cars, you have to put brakes on cars. You have to tune cars up. You got to get them oil changed. You got to get them washed. You got to fix things around the house. You got to go to the supermarket, buy this and buy that. You sleep 8 hours a day. I personally don't sleep 8 hours a day. I don't get an opportunity to sleep 8 hours a day. For all of you that sleep 8 hours a day, I wish that I was you. Many of you sleep 10, 12 hours a day. You don't give a damn. There's 24 hours in a day. Many of you sleep 8 hours a day on an average. 6 hours is really the average. That's 6 hours out of the 24, and now you have 18 hours remaining. Many of you work in 9 to 5, which is another 8 hours. Some of you do double shifts or an extra 4 hours overtime. You go in here, and by the time you're done with your job, you barely have time enough to go to the supermarket and do whatever you have to do with your family, your significant other, before it's time for your ass to go right back to sleep. And then you wake up and then you do the same shit over and over again. Those of you who are out there who are entrepreneurs, whether small time or big time, your schedule is really not too different. Now, many of you are hip. You got people running your business for you. They take care of all the things, basically, that's needed to run the business. They just check in with you when they need to check in with you, or you check in with them when you need to check in with them. So many of you do have a lot of time on your hands. Those of you who are in the $200 million club, $300 million club, the $1 billion club, certainly all you have to do is sleep. And all the rest of your time is to your hands. It's to yourself. But those of you at that $200 million club and all the way up, at what cost is that time? Because though you have that time, at what cost? What did it cost you? I would certainly hope that it didn't cost you your soul. Because the Bible is basic instructions before leaving earth. And when all of us die, we all got to answer to Christ at the end of the day. Some of us die without even repenting for our evils, leaving us in a very, very bad, fucked up state when it's time for the resurrection. None of us fear God. All we do is toil and labor and do whatever we can. We'll do whatever we have to do to impress the next man, to impress the next woman. All of these things are in vain. One of the most precious things you can do with some of your time on this planet is fear Elohim and follow his commandments. Whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. For in the realm of the dead, where you are going, there is neither working, nor planning, nor knowledge, nor wisdom. When you all die, there's no job to go to, nothing for you to plan for. There's no knowledge of anything, nor no wisdom of anything. You'll be unconscious and you won't even know anything at all. It'll be as if you don't even exist. And then you will be resurrected to either the kingdom or damnation. What a surprise that would be for some of you who didn't do what you were supposed to do before leaving Earth. Now, this is going to get hot, okay? So I need you to pay close attention. Solomon is then going to say in verse 11, we're in Ecclesiastes chapter 9. Now I'm at verse 11. The first segment of this message is called wisdom. This message is called from above. Verse 11, he's going to say, I have seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to all of them. Now, I need you all to pay very careful attention to this right here. It is Christ that allows each and every one of us to do everything that we do. Many of you say within your heart, I accomplished this and I accomplished that. But I want you to continue to listen to this chapter, because really, okay, you're being allowed to do everything that you do. None of you created yourselves. You're so arrogant. This is an arrogant people. And we are the people that he set apart to be his portion, to be his lot. And we don't give him credit for anything. Some of you put working hard before you give Christ credit. Or you put working hard before you give so-called God credit. Many of you don't even have the nuts to say his name, because his name is bad for your business. If any one of you that's making all of this money like you claim that you're making, or many of you that are doing this well, soon as you say the name Yahusha, your business is going to start dropping down the drain. Soon as you say the name Yahuwah, people gonna stop buying shit from you. If you sell advice, they're gonna stop buying advice from you. If you sell clothes, they're gonna stop buying clothes from you. If you sell food, they're gonna stop buying food from you. Nobody loves the truth. Nobody. The name Yahusha chases all you niggas away. And Yahusha is the man that came down here and bought every last one of you niggas. The name Yah will destroy your business. And you all will certainly put your business first. They wanted to listen to me until they heard something that they didn't want to hear. Chapter 12. Everybody knows where I'm at. People pull up behind me, pull up beside me. They want to hear what I say. Till you don't like what you hear. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not true. Verse 12. Moreover, no one knows when their hour will come. As fish are caught in a cruel net, or birds are taken in a snare, so people are trapped by evil times that fall upon them unexpectedly, that unexpectedly fall upon you, unexpectedly. I've heard people give subliminals over the internet saying, I'll come by and knock your pumpkin off. I don't know if they were talking about me. I have little subtle enemies over the internet. Some people you all know to be my enemies, but they're not my only enemies. And I don't specifically look at any of you black people as enemies. Why? Because I have an understanding that you all don't have. But many of you look at me as an enemy. Okay? I got a bonus too at the end. I hope I don't forget. Many of you need to stick in here to the end. Okay? So unexpectedly, anything can happen to any of us. Unexpectedly, anything can happen to me right now. And every time I give these messages, I also saw under the sun this example of wisdom that greatly impressed me. So he's going to say, I also saw an example of wisdom that greatly impressed him. There was once a small city with only a few people in it. There was once a small city with only a few people in it. This city could be Philadelphia. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking small city like Flint, right? Now Flint is certainly a small city with few people in it, but we don't want to look at it that way because this took place about 3,000 years ago. So technically Philadelphia would be considered a small city that he's talking about. Or New York, or Los Angeles, or Texas, even though Texas is big in size. Los Angeles is big in, well, Texas is a state. So California, well, Texas has more people than California, but Los Angeles has more people than Houston, right? So point I'm saying is no matter what city here in America or what city in any what city in any country or on any continent across the four corners of the globe, all the cities are small is basically what he's trying to say here. Now pay attention. Okay? So he's going to say, and the powerful king came against it, surrounded it, and built huge siege works against it. Now, Ecclesiasticus said that there's a small city that had a few people in it, and a king came against this city and surrounded the city with armed forces. Now, these things are going to happen, okay? There's going to come a time when Philadelphia, New York, Los Angeles, Houston, Tennessee, Atlanta, okay, whatever city, Detroit, Ohio, there's going to come a point where the armed forces are going to bum rush these cities, and or a city might need to be quarantined for whatever reason. No one will be able to leave. People are going to be dying from pestilence in this city, and people are going to be trying to get away. There may be an insurrection, or it just may be a purge sent down from the elitists to any specific city. Because that situation that happened to Flint was an attack. It was biological warfare. Many of you think that it just happened. It just happened. It didn't just happen. They used Flint, a small city with a small population, as practice. Because these things are coming on larger scales. So a great king came against the city. Now there lived in that city a man poor, meaning he was broke, but wise. And he saved the city by his wisdom. But nobody remembered that poor man. So I said, wisdom is better than strength, but the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are no longer needed. The quiet words of the wise are more to be heeded than the shouts of a ruler of fools, or more to be heeded. So let me read that again. I need you all to pay careful attention. The quiet words, the subtle words of the wise are more to be hearkened to, or more important to be listened to, or to be taken heeded to, than the shouts of a ruler of fools. See, if there are people that rule fools, it's because he or she is a fool. Do not follow a multitude in wickedness. The more people that cling to a specific situation, or the more people that follow a specific situation, the worse. Meaning, most definitely, that situation is incorrect. People don't look at it that way. They don't understand. They think that the numbers equate correction. That's false. It's the opposite way around. Christ doesn't operate in numbers. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. As dead flies give perfume a bad smell, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. So a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. The heart of the wise inclines to the right, but the heart of the fool to the left. Meaning, the heart of the wise takes the straight path, and the heart of the fool takes the wide path. The heart of the wise takes the narrow path, and the heart of the fool takes the wide path, the path that many people take, which is the path of destruction. Even as fools walk along the road, they lack sense and show everyone how stupid they are. Even as fools walk along the road, they lack sense and show everybody how stupid they are. If a ruler's anger rises against you, do not leave your posts. Calmness can lay great offenses to rest. There is an evil I have seen under the sun, the sort of error that arises from a ruler. Fools are put in many high positions, while the rich occupy the low ones. Fools are put in many high positions, while the rich, he's not talking about the rich in money. He's talking about the rich in spirit, the rich in integrity, while they occupy the low positions. Okay. So I had went over into chapter 10 because I just wanted to read how people always follow a multitude to do wickedness. Now, I want to move on. Okay? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 4. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 4. And we're going to read verses 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Verses 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Get wisdom, get understanding. Forget it not. Neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not. Who's her? Wisdom. And she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor. And when thou dost embrace her, she shall give to thine head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory shall she deliver to thee. So, the advice here is to get wisdom. Okay? That's the advice. To get wisdom. To get understanding. But the problem is, many of you think that wisdom is your own understanding. It's not your own understanding. In this life, you need the basic instructions before leaving Earth. That is the only wisdom that you need. And that is the only wisdom that's correct. It's the only wisdom that's correct. Everything else is incorrect. All right. So, you all have been voting lately. Now, I'm not going to be petty, okay? I'm not going to be petty. Many of you have been voting, and there were 2 black mayors. Many of you have been talking about the black mayor in Atlanta. Okay. I don't know if he won or not. And there was a whole bunch of hoopla about the first black mayor. He did win, the guy over in Pittsburgh. That's my dad's city. Black mayor in Pittsburgh. Now, listen, because I know a lot of you get angry at me, right? A lot of you get angry with me. Well, I'm going to kind of be borderline here tonight. Let me give you all a break. I'm not going to be petty tonight. But there's a good reason why I'm not going to be petty. See, you got the council, you got the city council, you got city hall, then you have the mayor. That's a low level. That's low level politics. Okay? You don't get me wrong, I'd like to be the mayor. Well, no, I don't want to be the mayor, but I mean it's probably a nice little fancy thing to be, right? But you got to understand that at the end of the day, the city council, right, and the mayor, which is above the city council, but city hall is low-level politics. So, voting for the mayor is not like voting for the Senate. It's not like voting for the governor, and it's certainly not like voting for the president. There are far less politics involved in these low-level politics than it is on a state level or higher, on a Senate level, state level, congressman level, as you get further up in the judicial system. It's a complete different ball game. I'll be back.